My name is Camila. I am a community librarian here at the Milner Library, and I will be doing a presentation on all things EPL. There are some things you might know already, and there might be some new information, so yeah, we'll kind of get through it. So the first thing I want to highlight is just some features about the Edmonton Public Library as a system. We have 18 full-service branches throughout the city, plus 3 EPL Go sites, which are considered long-term temporary locations situated in sort of the outer boroughs of the city, with the ultimate goal being to have larger permanent libraries built there. And then we also have 4 EPL to go vans, and I'll be talking about that a little bit later. And we have around 700 staff that work all over the city. So just to give you an idea, these are some pre-2020 numbers, but it's nice to see how well loved and how well used EPL is in the city and continues to be. So pre-2020, EPL was the second most visited place in Edmonton with more than 14 million visits a year. I was going to ask the audience, what do you think is the most visited place in Edmonton? Yes, yep. So West Edmonton Mall is the most visited place. So I did mention these are pre-2020 numbers. Obviously, we're all in flux as community organizations, but I wanted to give you some more updated numbers. In 2021, we had over 6 million visits to our website, epl.ca. We created over 34,000 memberships. And we saw over 181 hours of in-house computer usage. So yeah, so as we were coming out of 2020, in 2021, we started to see those numbers go back up. And we continue to be a service that all Edmontonians use. So I'm just going to kind of give you some more information about that. So yeah, pre-2020 numbers, we saw 10 million items borrowed. In 2021, though, we saw 5.5 million e-resources that were borrowed. And we saw a 2% increase in in-person and online visits. So I've been talking about visits, I've been talking about people using the library. How can people use the library? Well, they can use it with their library card. Library cards are free for all Edmonton residents, and there is no age restriction. So you can be 2 days old, and I've done cards for little newborn babies, or you can be 99 years old. We also offer memberships to on-reserve residents and residents of Métis settlements throughout Alberta. With a library card, people can borrow up to 40 items. So that's any combination of books, magazines, movies, CDs. We also have materials in other languages. And of course, we have all of that material, but for children. Almost every item we have, people can borrow for up to 3 weeks. And during the pandemic, we actually got rid of our daily late fees. So that might be something you might not be aware of, but one we're very happy to share. With a library card, people also have access to numerous online resources, and I'll be going over those in detail. And library card holders can access our computers at our branches for an hour a day, and they can photocopy and print for 10 cents a page, and they can scan and fax for free. If people need longer than an hour, they can absolutely get that, and we can work with customers if they need the computer for a longer duration. We're seeing that, of course, now with things like online courses and online certification. So I'm talking about people with library cards if they're Edmonton residents. For people who are visitors to Edmonton and don't reside in the city, they can get temporary computer passes to access the computer. I mentioned to get a library card, people just need to show a ID and a proof of Edmonton address, and that can be like an Alberta ID, a driver's license, or it could be something like a bill or a piece of mail. For people who are between homes for whatever reason, we can absolutely get them set up with an access card that can ensure that they get access to the computer and at least one item, and then we can work with them once they get permanent housing. So I mentioned some of the digital resources and how many were being accessed over the past year and a half. So we have quite a lot, and of course we're seeing a huge increase in that as well. So we have, I'll just run down a few of them. We have things like RB Digital, which is free access to over 300 popular magazines, and these can be read online on a smartphone or a tablet or a computer. Things like Newsweek, New Yorker, Elle, Esquire, Vanity Fair. We have Press Reader, which is a really great resource. This is gives library card holders access to over 2,000 newspapers from around the world. This includes same-day coverage with all of the articles and pictures, and you have access to content from 97 countries in 54 languages, and including 50 Canadian newspapers. We have every issue of National Geographic magazine from 1888 online. We also have Hoopla, which gives you streaming access to over 240 titles, and that includes television, movies, music, ebooks, comic books, and audiobooks. We also have a variety of language learning resources, including English language learning. So we have Mango Online, which includes English language courses for speakers of 15 other languages. We have Clear Pronunciator, and we have IELTS. So we have online study materials for the IELTS exam. And we also have Gale courses. These are interactive 6-week instructor-led distance learning classes, complete with a final exam and certificate of completion. And this covers a range of great topics, especially in the area of professional development. So think accounting, finance, creating web pages, Microsoft Office. We also have LinkedIn Learning. So if your organization is thinking of purchasing a subscription for your organization, please don't, because it is free for anyone who has a library card. So this offers training in developing apps, workplace soft skills, becoming a better manager, and project management, and so much more. There's over 16,000 course tutorials, and they are also in other languages other than English, including French, German, Japanese, Spanish, and Mandarin. I've been talking about technology a lot. So we have over 500 computers and computing programs on our devices throughout our branches. So we are the, oops, I'm sorry about that. Go back. We are the city's #1 destination to free access to computing resources in the city. We also love to help out people who need to get, things like email accounts set up, Facebook accounts. They need to set up their devices for reading ebooks or listening to music through our databases. We can absolutely help with that. And now for some more fun stuff. We have maker spaces. So I'm going to focus a little bit on all the great technologies we have here at Milner, but we also have a lot of these same technologies at our other branches. So makerspaces are our hubs for all things making and creating. We offer access to services and equipment such as recording studios, high-end creative workstations, 3D printing, laser cutting, bookmaking, and more. Here at the Milner Makerspace, you can book a recording studio and make use of our instruments and equipment to record your next big hit. We can also help you how to model and 3D print your own designs, or we can help you find ones online. And not everything in our makerspace is digital. We have sewing machines and sergers, dress forms. We also have vinyl cutting and a heat press to make custom shirts and other fun stuff. I mentioned this is at Milner, but we also have similar features of the makerspaces at White Mud Crossing, which has a sound booth studio, at Capilano, which has its sewing machine, and at Abbotsfield, which also has a 3D printer and sewing machine and a vinyl cutter. Nested within our community-led framework is EPL's outreach service, which has 3 permanent full-time social workers. We actually got a chance to expand this service with our new renovated space, with additional partnerships to make up the Robert Tegler Trust Outreach Services area here on the second floor at Milner, and this includes housing services provided by Homeward Trust, financial empowerment social workers from the City of Edmonton, drop-in counseling provided by the Family Center, and newcomer settlement services provided by ESA. I mentioned the EPL to go literacy vans. So as we continue to grow as a city, we obviously can't build physical libraries fast enough. So our growth continues in the suburban neighborhoods where census data shows that these are filled with young families and new Canadians. So we have 4 of these vans that have resumed traveling to these parts of the city. One for each quadrant of the city. The 4 vans contain fun and educational tools, including storytime kits, Lego robotics, electronic circuit making kits, games and gaming equipment, iPads, and e-readers. So all of that great stuff, what does that do for the city of Edmonton? Well, we provide huge economic value to the city. If we calculate the value of our material and services that's offered by EPL for free, we're looking at a value of $278 million, and that averages to $538 for every cardholder and $343 per Edmontonian. So yeah, rich, poor, young, old, new Canadian, or lifelong Edmontonian, EPL ensures lifelong success and the resources needed to prosper. I'll wrap up with a couple of information, which is great because I'm talking to all of these great nonprofit organizations and these community organizations in the city. Each of our branches has a community librarian. The role of the community librarian is to connect, consult, and collaborate with community members in order to understand community needs and help inform the direction of library services. So as I mentioned, I'm the community librarian here at Milner, so I work with our neighbors and our agencies in the area. However, if you work in other parts of the city, I encourage you to reach out to your nearest branch and to get to know your community librarian there. Here's just a small sampling of the organizations that we work with citywide. So you can take a look there. Locally, community librarians have spent over 1,000 hours with over 200 community organizations throughout the year. So we really value that kind of collaborative framework to kind of get a sense of what people are seeing, especially now we're in such a time that I don't think any of us predicted. And so what we're seeing out in the community, what we're seeing with our Edmontonians, what people are experiencing, what their needs are, what their barriers are. We really want to work collaboratively and ways we can share information, ways we can support each other in achieving our goals. Yeah, so that's that. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, thank you. Yes, yeah, a question there? Yes. In like providing ID or? That's a good question. So the question is, do we provide an ID program, like helping people get their ID? Yeah, so that would be with our outreach workers. So our outreach workers are our social workers, and they could help support that with their clients. If our outreach workers, if their slate is full and someone comes and needs help with their ID, we absolutely can connect people with other organizations that could help with that and make sure people are getting supported. Yeah, for sure. No. So everything that I've been talking about, all of our classes, all of our resources, nothing, there is no cost. Yeah. Thanks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. We can definitely connect you with the social workers or the kind of the umbrella of the Robert Tegler Outreach Services, because there's a few agencies that work out of there, and make sure that they have your resources available. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The social workers do have office hours. They work out of the library, so they are here. They're scheduled 5 days a week, but they're not always here. They're, maybe going with a client to help get housing or something like that. They do have drop-in hours, I believe, on Monday mornings, and we also have the other. Like Homeward Trust, they have different drop-in hours, and then Family Center, the drop-in counseling. It's all throughout the week. Yeah. Yeah. If they don't, if there's a potential client that isn't already supported with other kind of a social worker case file in another area, then yeah, they could come here, and I would encourage them to come during the drop-in time. The Monday morning. Yeah. 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 Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you.